Hey yogis, this is Reiko Rogers. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, Reiko's Yoga Room. So today, this class is going to be for those who has been practicing Ashtanga Yoga very consistently, and then also the second series very consistently. Okay, so I have all the way from the beginning of the the opening series, and then also the second series all the way from the beginning to the end and the closing. For those who has only been practicing up to a certain pose, you can pause it, and then I will try to find out the time of the closing sequence starting point, so you can skip to that closing sequence whenever you have finished your own practice of the second series. You are not recommended to do any new poses during a pregnancy, so your teacher giving you only certain poses, up to certain poses in the second series, and that's what you're gonna stop. Yeah, and I have all the way to the end for those who have entire second series practice. So this is a class for those who probably have a pretty strong practice, because you've been practicing second series, and I think that your teacher only giving you second series if you have pretty consistent Ashtanga practice. So you probably have pretty good body awareness. So the bottom line is listen to your body as always, and if that feels good for you to keep doing whatever you've been doing, do it. But be always have this 80% mindset. So you're not gonna go too crazy. You're not gonna push yourself much. You're gonna watch your heart rate. You're gonna really listen to your body and be just kind of pulled back to like 80%. So that's the guideline, right? And especially with a lot of the opening of the back, to me has been actually helpful to open the back because of a lot of weight in the front. So not to stretch the lower belly and entire like the abdominal muscles, which causes little split in the abdominal muscles, but rather really focusing on the chest opening. So I will go through some of the twisting poses, like Ardha Chandrasana and all of that also, which is very accessible to all the pregnant ladies. And really the focus is to open the shoulders, open the chest, and move around there, and not the pelvis and not the lower belly. So I'm at 31-week pregnant right now, in the third trimester, and my belly is pretty big. So a lot of poses actually is still happening to me. They are still happening to me, but with a lot of modifications. So I think it's good, you can take some of my tips about modifications, or you can do it on your own way, of course. But if you're watching this, I'm guessing that you're curious about, how other yogis modify their practice. Okay, so the couple things. One, I've been using props a lot during pregnancy. So a lot of times Ashtangis never use props, but pregnancy is definitely exception. I've been using blocks and then also bolsters. And if you don't have a bolsters, roll blankets or any cushions or pillows works as well. The reason why I'm using those are for those belly down back bend sequence. I'm gonna walk you through how to use them, but if you have those available, please have them by you so that when I go through those poses, you can just have it ready. Okay. Always pause and rest whenever you have to, and listen to your body, and talk to your doctor and healthcare provider, midwife, whoever who's taking care of you before you start this practice with me, because you want to be okay to go into all of that kind of more intense poses than other prenatal yoga. Okay. Starting with your Surya Namaskar. Come inhale, reach up all the way, look up. Dwe exhale, hands down. Trini inhale, head up. Chatawari exhale, chaturanga. Pancha inhale, upper facing. Shat exhale, downward facing. 5 breaths. So this is just a regular Surya Namaskara, just not jumping back. So if you're pregnant, it's not recommended to jump back. So step back to make sure that you're not putting too much shock into your uterus. And I'm going to show you a few other ways of modifications for Surya Namaskar A after one more round. Keep your Ujjayi breath. And Sapta, inhale, come forward, head up. Ashto, exhale, head down, fold. You can just be gentle or split your feet apart. Inhale, look up all the way. Samasthiti, hands by your side again. Yekam, inhale, hands up, look up. Due, exhale, hinge at your hips. Trini, inhale, head forward. Chatwari, exhale, stepping back to your chaturanga. You can drop your knees down here as well. Pancha, inhale, shoulders back, upper facing. Shat, exhale, downward facing. Here, still taking your upper facing dog. Be very gentle about not stretching too much of your belly. If you feel comfortable, go ahead and do it. So really, just the key is to listen to your body. There are so many modifications for Surya Namaskaras. So just really be keen to what your body is telling you is the most important thing. 5 breaths here. Good. Keep breathing. And next breath. You're going to step forward. Sapta, inhale, come forward, head up. Ashto, exhale, head down, hinge at your hips. Nava, inhale, rise up all the way, palms touch, look up. Samasthiti, hands by your side. Good. Now, I'm going to show you the modification here. You can hinge at your hips like regular way. And what you're going to do is you can come back down, drop your knees, bend your elbows straight back here to your half chaturanga. Just release your toes for your regular upper facing. And exhale, downward facing. So if your belly starts to get a little bit heavy, this is a great modification so that your knees supporting you for your chaturanga and not too much pressure onto your shoulders to hold that extra weight on your belly. Keep breathing here in your downward facing. And slowly look forward. Sapta, inhale, come forward and head up. Ashto, exhale, head down. Nava, inhale, reach up, palms touch. Samasthiti, hands by your side. Another modification I'm going to show you now. Inhale, look up. Exhale, this time you're going to open your feet apart and hands down on your thigh, hinge at your hips. Inhale, just gently look up from here, chest forward. Exhale, just curling here without going anywhere. Inhale, just bring your chest forward. And then exhale, keep your hands on your thigh and breathe. So this is a good modification for your down dog and then also up dog. Just have your hands on your thighs instead of going into your upper dog and downward dog. This is great if you don't want to go into any inversion. So downward dog is very, very gentle inversion. But for some of you who want to avoid that, this is a good one. You can just gently reach up with your inhale, exhale, hands come back to your side. All right. Inhale, look up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, head up. Exhale. Another modification is to do just a cat cow. Bend your elbows with your knees down and slowly inhale to your cow pose and then exhale to your cat. And tuck your toes under, push back to your downward facing. So this is another good modification to going into your cat cow instead of going into your chaturanga and your upper facing dog. So choose any options that you have and if whatever that feels good for you. Some of them are more gentle, some of them are a little bit more similar to your regular practice. So it's really the preference at that point. So listen to your body, no ego. 4, 5, hop forward, inhale, head forward, look up. Exhale, head to your legs. Good. Inhale, slowly all the way up, look up. Exhale, hands by your side, Surya Namaskara B. Bend your knees regular way, inhale, look up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, head forward. Exhale to your chaturanga. So this version I'm going to show you first is the regular, pretty much really similar to the regular Surya Namaskara B. Just stepping back is the difference here. Stepping your right foot forward for your warrior one position. Reaching up, taking your time, look up. Exhale to your chaturanga with your strong legs. Inhale to your upper facing, gentle but shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing. Left foot steps forward. With your inhale, come up to your warrior one on the left side, reaching up. Exhale to your chaturanga. Taking your time and quadriceps very active. Inhale, upper facing. Exhale, downward facing. 5 breaths. So another thing is that when you're pregnant, especially towards the end of your pregnancy, I'm in third trimester right now, your heart rate goes up a lot easier. Yeah, and then you kind of go out of breath a lot easier as well. So taking extra breaths in each movement is completely fine. So take more time and take it a little bit slower if you need to. Listen to your breaths. 4. Good. 5. Inhale, hop forward. Panchadesha, inhale, look up. Shodesha, exhale, fall forward, gentle. Bending your knees. Inhale, look up, palms touch. Samastitihi, exhale, hands by your side. Now I'm going to show you the modification. Version A. Inhale, bending your knees, hands up. You can keep your feet apart. Exhale, head down. Inhale, lengthen your back. Okay. With your exhale, step in your back, step your feet back to your chaturanga. Inhale, upper facing or just a cow pose. And then exhale, feet back to downward facing. Yeah, so avoiding your upper dog here. Right foot forward. Inhale to your warrior one. Taking your time. You can use your hand to come up also. Exhale to your chaturanga. You can drop your knees. Inhale, upper facing or just a cow pose. Exhale, tucking your toes. Downward dog. Exhale, stepping your left foot forward. Use your hands to come up if you need to. And reaching up to your warrior one. And slowly exhale, hands come down. Once again, you can drop your knees down. Inhale to your cow. So chest forward, shoulders back, and tucking your toes under, downward facing. And 5 breaths here. So this version is a little bit more gentle than the previous one. You can drop your knees down for your chaturanga and just go into your cow pose instead of your upper facing. And just go through the regular sequence after. 4. And 5. Slowly stepping your foot forward. Inhale, head forward. Keep your feet apart for this version. Exhale, head down and fall forward. Bending your knees. Inhale, bring your hands up. And then exhale, stand up. Samastitihi. Hands by your side. Last modification here. Inhale, bending your knees. Exhale, hands down on your thigh and just gently head down. Inhale, just gently pull your shoulders back. And then exhale, head down. You're going to step the left foot back from here and coming up to your warrior one. So just skipping the whole vinyasa, but you're still doing this same breath count. Exhale, stepping your left foot forward. Inhale, chest forward, replacing upper dog, and then exhale, curl your back down. Now step the right foot back this time and reaching your hands up into your warrior one on your left side. And then exhale, hands come down on your left thigh, stepping your right foot forward. Inhale, chest slightly forward, shoulders back. Exhale, round your back. Good. And you can stay here for 5 breaths. So this is the same way that you are avoiding the downward dog and whole vinyasa, but you can still go through this warrior 1 on both sides. So this is good one if you want to avoid any type of inversions. Inhale, look up. Exhale, and then hands by your side. Great job. Padangusthasana, feet open a little bit wider than usual, hinging at your hips, and exhale to fold. Grab onto your big toes. Inhale, head forward. Exhale here, or if you still feel good to come a little bit deeper. Let the belly come in between your thighs and don't force anything, bending your elbows out to the side. 5 breaths here. So feet open a little bit wider than usual, maybe to the edges of your mat. And to your Parahastasana, same thing here. You can keep the same width of your open feet and slide your hands underneath your feet for Parahastasana. Inhale, look up. Exhale, slide your hands underneath your feet. Okay, so if this is not gonna happen for you, and don't force it always, just always think of it as 80% of your regular practice. So if this was already hard for you, you of course not gonna push it at this point. You always have more time after the pregnancy. Just relax here, shifting your weight slightly forward, but you are maybe a little bit off balance than usual, so be really gentle about this. 4. Good. And 5. Inhale, lengthen head up. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, slowly stand up. And then exhale here. Close your feet. Samastitihi. Utthita Trikonasana, right foot goes out to the side. And for the Utthita Trikonasana, not much of a modification here. This is pre-accessible pose for all the pregnant ladies. So you can grab onto your right big toe, reach your left arm up to the sky, just as always. Now, if this feels not happening for you, you can always grab onto your ankle, use a block underneath your bottom hand, do whatever necessary. What you did on a pre-pregnancy probably is gonna work for you here. Just be careful about your joint. Your joints are more sensitive, so if you have a hyperextension on your knee as a habit, just gently microbend your knees. Inhale, come up, exhale to the other side. Keep breathing. So some of the poses, especially like kind of the side poses, are pre-accessible during pregnancies. So you can, always practice these even in your vinyasa classes, probably with no problem. Good. Slowly, slowly, whenever you're ready. Inhale, come up. Exhale to your Paribhita Trikonasana. Now you're going to use a block for this one. You're going to open your feet a little bit wider than usual. Left hand comes down on the block and reaching your right arm up to the sky. So you're still twisting your upper body, but notice that your pelvis is going to stay very flat. So that's very important. You're not twisting your belly, but you're rather really massaging your back and finding your open chest to the right. So you're creating a space with a block for your belly to kind of be free. Yeah. And you can do the same thing. Step your foot a little bit wider. So left foot almost goes to the outer edge of the left side mat. Right foot goes almost out to the right side edge of your mat. You have your feet a little wider than usual. If you are not pregnant, usually you try to find heel to heel, right? So, but in a pregnancy, you can bring your feet even wider. Another type of modification is to keep your feet apart, kind of like a Parsarita Padottanasana. Just bring your right hand down, reach your left arm up to the sky to find a twist. So this is a good modification as there is nothing in your way for your belly. So your belly is just nice and open, and you can still find a twist for your upper back. And come back to the center for Samasthiti. Let's go into your Utthita Parsvakonasana here. So Utthita Parsvakonasana, you can take this forearm down variation, or you can also put your hand down to the outside of your foot with the block. So props comes in really handy. You can have a little bit of a space for your belly, but you can still mimic pretty much what you've been doing pre-pregnancy. You can still focus on the strength in your pelvis and keep your right knee pressing into your right arm. Open your chest to the ceiling. Okay, slowly come up to the other side. You can take the same modification, forearm down or block underneath your hand. So I've been liking this block underneath my hand. This really creates more space for my belly so that I don't have to feel a little squeeze by my thigh. So do what feels good for you, but this pose is a great pose, strengthening your hips, strengthening your legs, and also your back. So any poses that strengthen your bottom body, back muscles, I think it's great during pregnancy. Keep breathing here, full. And 5. Slowly come up with your inhale. And with your exhale, twist, Parivrtta Parsvakonasana. You can drop your left knee down, left hand down, right arm up to the sky. Move your right foot all the way to the outer edge of your mat here, so you have more space for your belly. And you can also lift your back knee off the ground. So you're in a lunge twist rather than hooking your elbow to the outside. So I'm putting my left hand all the way to the left edge of my mat, and right foot all the way to the other edge. So I have a lot of space between my hand and the foot. So this way you're creating a lot of space for your belly. So adjust based on the size of your belly at that point. Really focus on flat hips but open chest towards the ceiling. It should feel good for you. 4. 5. Okay. Keep your quads active. Slowly bring your gaze down to come out. Inhale here, release. And then exhale back to Samasthiti, back to the center. Parivrtta Padottanasana. Step out to the side, exhale to forward fold. Inhale, hands down, look up, arms straight. Exhale, head down, bend your elbows back. So Parivrtta Padottanasana, A, B, C, D, there are not that many variations here. You can pretty much do whatever you've been practicing. Only thing you have to be very careful is that all of your joints are looser. So any hyperextension of your knees or hips or any of that, it could cause issues. So I have a tendency to hyperextend my knees in Parivrtta, so I've been micro bending and actually really carefully engaging my thighs even more than before to ensure that my joints are safe. B position, inhale, hands to hips, and then exhale, forward fold, elbows up. So, when you have some habits during a pre-pregnancy, you probably can feel that even more during a pregnancy. And it's a great time actually to revisit all of the habits and see, you might be able to actually be careful, be more mindful about those points. Keep your shoulder blades together, elbows up. Inhale, slowly come up. And then exhale here. Let's go into your seat. Inhale, reach out. Exhale, hands behind you. Inhale, shoulders back. And then exhale to forward fold. Okay, so C option as well. If you're practicing in public classes or MISO classes, do let the teachers know that you're pregnant if you're not showing too much yet. Your joints are looser. The risk for any shoulder issues along with any other joints are more. So sometimes teachers push your arms down. So just have the teachers be very careful on that one. You can go into your D, grab onto your big toes, inhale here, exhale, bend your elbows out to the side. Keep your breath. So you can have your feet even more wider if your belly is going to push into your thighs, but otherwise, keep the same practice. You can always fall for a little bit less if that feels better for you. Inhale, arms straight, exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, reach out. And then exhale, back to the center, to your Samastitihi. Good. Parshvottanasana, hands behind your back, reverse namaste or grab onto your elbows, step your feet out. Go ahead and open your feet a little bit wider than usual. Exhale, fall forward. When I say wider, not to front and back, but rather towards the right side edge and left side edge of the mat so that you have a space for the belly. You don't have to fall forward all the way. You can stop at halfway if that feels better for your belly. Or you can, I have been doing, is putting my belly to the inside of the front leg. Inhale, slowly come up. Exhale to the other side. Once again, stepping your feet a little bit wider. And then exhale halfway or come a little bit deeper if that feels good for you. So this pose definitely depends on people. A lot of poses like this, your focus even more should be on your pelvis flatness, yeah? So make sure your pelvis are very flat and aligned. Inhale, come up. Exhale, release and come back to the center, Samastitihi. Good. Now, Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. You can catch your knee or just repeat the same practice that you've been doing. The only difference is that you probably cannot forward all the way if your belly started to get big. So for me, I cannot forward all the way. So just bending my right elbow here like you can see, but still tilting just a tiny bit forward. Engaging both of my legs really strongly to help that balance. Inhale here. Exhale, open up to the side, gaze out to the side. So Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana and a few other poses in the standing positions, usually not taken if you are going into the second series. I have been practicing Utthita Hasta all the way to all of the standing balancing poses in the opening sequences because I have been having to modify a lot of the second. So these extra poses in the opening has definitely been helping me to keep some balance and hip opening and the strength. So it's really up to you. You can cut here and go straight to Pashasana if that has been your practice and if you want to keep going that way. Going into the left side of the Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. You can once again bend your left elbow just a little bit to fall forward, or you don't even have to fall forward here if that doesn't feel good for you. Especially, it's starting to get heavy with the belly weight. So fall forwarding actually takes more work for your back muscles. So if that feels good for you, definitely do it. If not, just stay upright. Really focusing on alignment of the hips here as well. Back to the center, exhale here. Inhale, head up. Exhale, hands to hip and 5 breaths. You can always use the little wall as well, hand on your wall if you feel like you're off balance during pregnancy. Now, Ardha Baddha Padamottanasana, right into half lotus, catch your right foot from behind if that happens for you today. You can stay up right here. If you feel good to fall forward, I recommend using a block underneath the hand on the bottom so that you can kind of have more space for the belly. You don't have to go all the way down. Sometimes the space created by the lotus leg actually accommodate the space for the belly. Slowly come up carefully and then exhale, release. Left side, left knee into half lotus. So this is not the time for you to force anything. If this Ardha Padamottanasana was not happening before pregnancy, I would do the same modification, maybe tree position or any other modification that you've been doing before the pregnancy. Once again, right hand on the block here. Slowly come up. And then exhale to release. Okay. Vinyasa to Utkatasana chair pose. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, head up. Exhale to your Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. No jumping here, just stepping forward. Utkatasana chair pose. You can keep your feet apart at hips distance, or you can also bring your thighs together if that feels good for you, and hands up. For those who's been kind of struggling with a higher blood pressure, you can keep your hands on your chest, not all the way up, and it applies for all of the poses. Good. Keep breathing here. Not too many modifications for this one. A lot of you might be able to still do the same Utkatasana. Vinyasa to your Virabhadrasana A. Right foot stepping forward. And reaching up. So warrior one, most of the time, there's no too many complications in this pose during pregnancy. So it's a pretty accommodating pose. You can still practice in the same way. Just watch your pelvis alignment, just like any other poses here. So your pelvis is gonna start to loosen up even more and more towards the end of the pregnancy, but throughout the whole pregnancy with your hormone, right? So keeping your pelvis lined up and be so conscious about that alignment will help you to ensure that you have a healthier birth experience, especially if you're trying to have a natural birth, right? Now, probably it's actually great practice for all of us because we are more conscious about the pelvis alignment, which has to happen for regular practice as well. Keeping the legs very strong and active and nice long back. And Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana B, left side. Warrior 2 is a great pose during a pregnancy as well. Once again, the same thing, same focus onto the pelvis alignment. Make sure that right and left hip are lined up horizontal to the floor, and shoulders just relax, reaching out to the side, and just your front knee is just on top of the ankle, left knee on the top of your ankle. Keep breathing here. Pull that thighs inward just a little bit so you have an inner connection towards the center line. We don't get to do too much about Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha during pregnancy. You should probably let those go, but you can still feel the midline strength by activating your inner thighs and then also pelvis. Keep breathing and slowly bring your hands down. No jump back here and just going into your Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. And then exhale, downward facing. Now we're going to go into your Pashasana. So walk through to the front. Pashasana variation here. Walk your feet wide, heels in, feet apart like Malasana. Sit down like a Malasana here. Okay. Now from here, you're going to bring your right arm to the in front of your right knee. Move your move or wrap your right hand around, move your left hand back to catch the hand and open your shoulder. So this is a modification for Paschasana, really deep twist usually, but this way you are still practicing the strength of your legs and then also opening your shoulders. Pull your hands down towards the ground. Same thing, left arm goes around your left leg and moving your right arm around to catch. Pulling your hands down towards the ground to really open your chest here. This is a really nice modification for pregnancy. Slowly inhale here, exhale, stepping back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing, and then exhale, downward facing. Okay, and slowly coming forward here. Okay. Now we don't get to squeeze our leg into the belly, so you can catch the foot and just hold on. So this is a good modification. This is a good modification for Kronchasana. You can also bring yourself into your Trianga Mukaika Paschimottanasana, which is basically the base pose for the Kronchasana. So choose what feels good for you. Take your vinyasa, or you can always switch the side. So a lot of time we take vinyasa in between poses, right side and left side, regular practice. But during pregnancy, I'd say you can actually skip the vinyasas as needed. You don't want to raise your heart rate too much, or you don't want to be overheated as either. Same modification on this left side. Right leg up and catch the foot, not pulling towards your body. Stay here, belly to the inside of your right thigh, or just you can take this Trianga Mukaika Paschimottanasana option. Vinyasa 2, going into your Shalabhasana. Now Shalabhasana and the next few poses on the belly, I'm going to use props. So what I've been using is roll blankets or bolsters. If you have bolsters at the studio, take 2, and then that's probably the easiest way. If you don't, you can have roll blankets on. So make 2 sets of it. So what I've been doing is put one of the 2 for my pelvis and one of the 2 for my chest. What this is doing is basically raising the floor and creating a space for the belly. I'm at 31 week pregnant right now, and this is working for me still. It has been working since the first trimester. Okay, so if this doesn't feel good for your chest, pelvis, belly, absolutely don't do it. I'm going to show you modification at the end of all of the belly sequence. Okay, so this is a Shalabhasana A. Just same thing that I'm doing like a regular practice. Just have the block props underneath my chest and the pelvis. And going into the B position, just putting my hand on that bolster and still really feeling a great opening for your chest, and squeezing your shoulder blades together. Thighs together, pointing your feet back. And you can slowly reach your chest up a little bit more. To come out, gently put that feet down and downward facing dog. Okay, slowly going into your Bekasana the same way. You can readjust the props. You can come down, hips on my roll blanket, or you have a bolster and a bolster, chest on a bolster. It really doesn't matter if you have a roll blanket or bolsters. For me, bolster feels a little bit more cushiony and soft. Same way for Bekasana, you can pretty much do the same thing as your pre-pregnancy, pretty much same Bekasana with these props. You can also take right side and left side, just one by at a time, and that could be just your Bekasana during pregnancy. You can also skip this pose if you feel it's too much of a stretch. But you notice that I've been really liking all of this belly down sequences with props because, you know, belly is heavy and I want to work on my back, and it feels really good to actually open my chest. And these belly down back bends are not too stretchy for my belly, but rather really I can feel the strength and an opening in the chest area and upper back. So really focus on upper back opening and really lengthening your lower belly, lower back. Yeah. So Dhanurasana the same way, keeping your hips on the roll blanket and just catching your feet. You don't go too crazy on this one to avoid an extreme stretch on your belly. For your Parshabal Dhanurasana, you have an option to just remove the props and come down on your side right on the mat. You can also keep these props and actually do on it. And especially for those of you who have belly more to the side, expanding to the side, actually having those props, even this Parshabal Dhanurasana is nice. So bring your right shoulder underneath your left shoulder and reaching your hands to your feet. Keep breathing, and you can roll to the side. Obviously, if you don't have a props, you're not going to be rolling on your belly. And you're going to lift yourself up for 5 breaths at the center, and so you can keep doing the same thing. And this pose, if this feels kind of a little bit hard for you on your lower back, go ahead and open your knees apart. Focus on your upper body opening, not your belly. And slowly release. Inhale, upper dog. Exhale, and downward facing dog. Actually, I'm going to show you the modification for Shalabhasana without props. So for this one, you can just start with that all fours position, reaching your right arm forward, left foot back, and reaching up a little bit higher with your foot and the hand. So this is a good, this you can still feel really good opening for your upper back and strength in the back, entire midline for Shalabhasana, but just right side and left side. Yeah, so this is a good modification without props. To Dhanurasana, you can do the same thing by just reaching that right hand back to the left foot and moving your foot up towards the ceiling. Your left hand and your right knee is down to the ground. You're going to do the right side and left side. This also is a little bit challenging for the balance, but it's a great practice to replace Dhanurasana. Okay, going into your Ashtarasana. Inhale here, exhale, hands on your feet. 5 breaths. So focus on pushing your pelvis forward and really lifting your sternum. You can even stay with your hands on your back and not really reaching your hands down to the feet. So if it feels not good to stretch, obviously skip and take it very gentle. Slowly come up and then exhale, hands down to a vinyasa. Laghu Vajrasana. This pose is a definitely difficult one with extra weight on the belly. Catch on your ankle and you can just go halfway and come back up, or you can also have a bolster underneath the head, and so that you can come a little bit more above, little bit less amount of the distance to come back up. You don't want to contract the belly too much to come up. Slowly release for vinyasa. And to your Kapotasana. So Kapotasana, this is even deeper stretch for the belly. Definitely don't force it. Good option is to use the wall and bring the hands to the wall and really push the chest up. And this is a good modification for those who's been working on Kapotasana as a challenging pose. Slowly come out of the pose and vinyasa. Okay, so Supta Vajrasana, you can come to the lotus position. So if you have assistance, you can take the Supta Vaj probably with your hands. Otherwise, you can just grab onto the elbows or hands down on your thigh and do the cat-cow movement on your lotus with your breath. And this is a really just a, very, very gentle but good modification so that you don't have to go all the way to your Supta Vaj, head down on the ground, but you can still just move around with your chest. So do what feels good for you and then also consult with your teacher. Now after that vinyasa, we're going to take that crow pose, Bakasana. Crow pose takes a lot of work for the core muscle, back muscle. Definitely option to skip or not, just kind of modify a lot. So you can bring your knees to the shoulder, come onto your tips of your toes, just curl your body and shifting your weight forward. And this might be Bakasana, good enough for you. Yeah, and or you can also use a block. Put your feet on the block to have your knees a little bit higher on your shoulders. Squeeze your knees to your shoulders and just breathe here. That's also good. You are not engaging the core too much this way, but really focusing on the squeezing motion of your thighs. Now, if for those who still feels pretty good to do Bakasana, you can also take it. So just really listen to your body and have you as a guidance. But even if you take Bakasana, no jump back here. Just step your feet down to take your Chaturanga. You want to avoid all of that jump backs. Especially in your third trimester, your belly starts to get pretty big. So squeezing the thighs towards center and lifting yourself up in this Bakasana definitely becomes harder. So B position, Bakasana B is absolutely optional. You don't have to do it at all. You can just skip or take it. For those who are taking it, definitely be gentle and really focusing on rounding your back like a cat. Not too much of a core and not jumping back. Take it slow. So next two twists are actually accessible for all of us with some cautiousness. So Vajrabhajasana. Vajrabhajasana actually is a great pose for all pregnant ladies. You can pretty much do it without any modifications. If you feel like you need more space for the belly, you can just put the left hand on that right knee instead of sliding the left hand underneath the knee. That gives a little bit more space. Otherwise, you can just repeat whatever you've been doing for this pose. So this is a safe twist as you are not twisting deep from your pelvis. Your pelvis still facing forward. You're just really opening your shoulders. And a lot of times, rib cage and the back start to get very tired, like really lots of tensions from the belly. So opening and squeezing the shoulder blades in this twist is really good for you. And you can go into Ardha Machandrasana after that vinyasa. You can also take vinyasa in between right side and left side. I'm skipping here. So for Ardha Machandrasana, your top knee will come to just squeeze into the belly, so you don't want to do that. You can bring the right knee on top of your left knee, kind of like a Gomukhasana almost, and gently twist. So once again, pelvis facing forward, belly still facing forward. You're only twisting your chest and opening your shoulders. So any twist, this goes for your primary series as well. You're gonna focus on the shoulder and chest opening, not to twist from your belly always. Same thing for the left side. Left knee comes on top of your right knee, kind of like Gomukhasana, and opening your shoulders and really focusing on your chest. Yeah. Slowly come back for vinyasa. Now going into your Ekapadashasana sequence. So these are very challenging, especially with the belly and the pelvis getting even more loose, that you don't want to injure your pelvis. Yeah, so he still feels good for you. You can do it, but what I've been doing is being very gentle, as my hip has been already tight and I don't want to injure my pelvis, especially during the third trimester. So catching the right knee, right foot with the elbows, and just stretching my IT band and the hip. You can just gently fall forward from here. And you want to be very cautious about the pelvis when we're working on asymmetric poses. You want to make sure that the alignment doesn't get messed up during your third trimester. Left side the same way, just catching that left shin with both of your hands and really just focusing on gentle opening of your pelvis and then also your IT band. Yeah. Now you can also bring that feet together, soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana. So this is a great option. If you don't want to do a symmetric pose in this Ekapadashasana, you can just come into your Baddha Konasana. Just walk on the hips, hip opening. You can also bring the block in between your feet and to go into a little bit more opening for the hips. This is a good option to get a little bit more open and stretch your outer and inner thighs. Vinyasa here. Slowly come to a seated. Dvipadashasana. If you feel comfortable, do it, but for me it has not been working at all with the belly. So you can catch the outside of your feet, kind of like almost like a happy baby with your seated position. Another option is to come to modify Kurmasana position. So bring your legs bent in that diamond shaped position, soles of your feet together, and slowly just bring your chest forward. And this is very restorative and I'm actually very gentle and feels really nice for the hips and the back. So no forcing and no putting pressure on the belly. So Dvipada Shasana is definitely difficult because thighs press into the belly and a lot of opening for the hips. You can come into the seated for Yoga Nidrasana. So Yoga Nidrasana also you can come into Happy Baby Pose. Bring the hands to the outside of your feet and gently squeeze your knees down to the outside of your chest. And no Chakrasana, rolling back, but you're just gonna come to a seated and stepping your feet back and going into your Vinyasa. So we're gonna go into your Titibhasana sequence. Titibhasana also, if you feel like your thighs are squeezing too much into your belly, don't do it. You're gonna modify. Otherwise, you can come into wide version of Titibhasana A. So hands are a little bit wider than usual for me here, and thighs are of course wider than, so that my belly is not really squeezed by my thighs. And for the B position, especially if you start to have more belly, you cannot catch the hands behind you, so that just gently bring the hands behind the ankles and fold. Really accommodating your belly. For the C position, you're gonna, kind of like a sumo wrestler, bring the hands on your thighs and just walk with your breath. So you're still keeping the same breath counts, and you still feel a lot of work into the legs. You just don't have your arms around your thighs. Okay. For the D position, keep your heels a little bit apart, not completely together. Bend your knees a lot more, and just wrap your arms around your legs. Yeah, so this way you're still creating a diamond shape with your legs, and actually it's really strengthening for your legs. You are not getting through your shoulders, behind the knees here, as a lot of times that's not possible with a big belly. And last Titibhasana to get out of the pose, same thing, open wider hands and your feet. And you can take Bakasana for transition, or just gently stepping back for Vinyasa. If you feel any dizziness or too much of a heart rate going up, always rest in between. No hurry. Now next pose is a Pincha Mayurasana. If you've been practicing Pincha Mayurasana very comfortably without any wobbliness, go ahead and do it. If you are not confident, if you feel like you might fall, definitely use a wall or the assistance. You do not want to risk falling, even though you want to fall all the time during the pregnancy. Any regular practice during a pregnancy, you want to avoid the falling as much as possible. So if you feel like you might fall, or if your balance is off, use a wall right behind you. Okay. Otherwise, Pincha Mayurasana has been pretty much the same. If you want to avoid inversion, obviously you're gonna just stay in a dolphin position or forearm plank position, and that's it. Otherwise, Pincha. You are not gonna jump back here, so just gently step in your feet back. And going into your Chaturanga from here. Inhale, upper facing. And then exhale, downward facing. Okay. Karandavasana, same thing. If you're skipping this, skip it. Otherwise, you're gonna take that regular Pincha Mayurasana and lotus legs and gently bring it up, hinging at the hips rather than curling all the way down. So this is definitely a very, very challenging pose. It was high energy pose. So I'd say if you're gonna skip. And if you have assistance, go ahead and have the assistant, the teacher, to assist you so that you don't fall. Make sure you are not curling too much here. just gently putting your hinging at your hips. Now, for those who are going to take that scorpion pose, Richikasana, really focus on moving your chest through rather than hinging at the hips for the back bend. Inhale here and exhale to your chaturanga. Inhale upward facing and then exhale downward facing. Good. Mayurasana. So Mayurasana, definitely we cannot bring the elbows to the belly. It's definitely not going to happen right now. So what you can do is bring the hands down, fingers pointing back, inhale, look up. Exhale, gently step in your feet back. Come to like a plank position with your Mayurasana, arms, bending the elbows just a little bit. Or you can also drop the knees and just gently pull the hips back so you're stretching your forearms, front of the forearms. You can also come slightly forward, just focusing on the stretch of your wrist and your forearms rather than going all the way to the Mayurasana. Slowly reaching up and then exhale, hands down. Good. Nakarasana, inhale here, exhale down. You want to avoid jumping. So what we can do here is basically a little chaturanga push-ups. You can do this with your knees down, or you can try with the regular chaturanga to plank position. It's a lot of work with extra weight on your belly. Yeah, so I can only do about 5 total. So you can really just adjust to your practice. You can always have your knees down. Now, slowly come forward. Inhale, head up. Exhale, head down. Inhale, rise up all the way. And then exhale, Samasthiti. Good. Going into your Batayasana here. So Batayasana, except for the vinyasa with this lotus leg, it should be pretty comfortable. So I skip the vinyasa, just come down to the knee and go straight into the Batayasana position. Now, with that balance, if you feel wobbly, use the wall behind your back, or you can also put the lotus leg, just put the right foot down on the ground as well. Otherwise, you are reaching your fingers up towards the ceiling, which stretches your side body, should feel very nice for you. So going into the left side, once again, I'm skipping the vinyasa here as it has been more difficult now with the big belly. Then you can come into your Vatayasana. Reaching your hands up towards the ceiling to really focusing on your nice long side body. Reaching your chest up, tailbone pointing down. Slowly hands down. 2. Come forward. Exhale here. Inhale, rise up. And then exhale to release. Good. Parigasana, inhale. Exhale, heads down. Inhale, look up. Exhale, feet back to Chaturanga. Inhale, upper facing. Exhale, downward facing. Good. Come through. So Parigasana, not many things to modify here as you're opening, twisting, but actually opening to the sky. So your belly shouldn't be disturbed too much. Actually, this has been a really great pose for me as my back is really tense and this massages my back really nicely. So I've been liking it a lot. So for those who don't feel good in this pose, of course, take it easy, gentle. But if you feel okay, yeah, go for it. Left side coming through. Parigasana, left side. Right leg out, left leg bent. Sliding your right hand forward and opening your chest to the ceiling. Bring the spine to your right leg, elbows facing up towards the ceiling. Good, guys. Slowly, slowly. Release hands to hips. Vinyasa. Good. Now you're going to go into your Gomukhasana A and B. Gomukhasana also not too much restriction with the belly, so you're gonna just take the regular Gomukhasana. If your belly is squeezed by the right side, and go ahead and come down to modify Gomukhasana, which your hips are down and feet are to the outside of the hips. Otherwise, same as regular practice, shins together and really focusing on the midline. B position. Right elbow up, left elbow down, catching the hands behind the shoulders. Now, this also is a great position to lengthen the side body and really lifting your sternum up. Push the head back into your arms and really feel the nice stretch. It's a great pose. Going into the left side. For those who has not been able to find a bind in a regular practice, this is not the time for you to try it. So always use the towel in between the hands for the bind. And to the B position. Left elbow up, right elbow down, catch the hands behind the shoulders. Slowly bring your hands down for Vinyasa. Now slowly coming through. Supta Ardha Padda Vajrasana. So this pose, rolling on your back is not recommended during a pregnancy. So you can just come to that reclined pigeon pose. Right foot on top of your left thigh, catching your left knee with both of your hands and squeeze in. And just come to a seated position. Take that twist gently. So rolling back is on your back is not happening right now. So you can just go straight to this twist also if that feels better for you. And going into the left side, you can take Vinyasa or just lie down to take the reclined pigeon on the left side. Left foot on top of your right thigh and pull your right knee towards your chest a little bit. Just gentle, gentle. And then you're going to roll back up, come up to take the twist on the left side. Focusing on the shoulder opening and your chest. Okay, so now we're gonna going into your 7 headstands. So the headstands, if you don't feel comfortable with the balance, don't risk it. Have a wall behind you or have assistance or skip it. Also, we are not gonna jump back down, which happens in a regular practice from the 7 headstands. So you're just going to bring the feet down. So that's pretty much the consistent instruction for all of the 7 headstands. So starting with the first one, bending the elbows and reaching up, just gently coming down. Okay. Then you're going to take the B position. Now for those who are going to avoid inversions, especially here towards the really end of the pregnancy and your baby is settled in a good position to prepare for the birth, I'd say, consult with your midwife and doctor to see if inversion is still appropriate for you. You probably don't feel good to go into the headstand, Pinchamayurasana, any of the inversions at that point, and totally skip it. And so really consult with your provider, healthcare provider. C position. You can have the arms straight, or I'm just bending my elbows here to have a little bit more stability. And then also the next 4th one, regular headstand with a bound, Baddha Hasta Shasana. Usually for the Baddha Hasta Shasana ABCD, we have to flip the hand and jump back to Chaturanga. I'm avoiding this by putting the feet down gently. B position. Gently feet down. C position. And feet down. Last one. So if your joints are loose and you don't feel comfortable with this last position, skip it. Otherwise, same thing. So that concludes the whole second series. We're going to go into that closing sequence. So this closing sequence is for those who's been practicing second series. I have a modification video for pregnancy for this first primary series, which goes over more gentle modifications for the closing as well. Now you can always take the restorative bridge pose for the back bends and bring the block underneath the pelvis and stay there. If you want to take the bridge pose for all the 3 rounds, that's also a great option, and just strengthen your legs. If your doctor told you not to lay on your back, avoid any of this and just go straight to forward fold. If you still feel good and not feel dizzy on your back, I think that all of the back bends are actually okay, but totally talk to your healthcare provider and check with them. Ardha Dhanurasana, if that feels still good for you, just be gentle on your belly so that you're not stretching too much, and really focus on your chest opening here and strong legs. For those who are still coming up to standing, you can get the assistance with a teacher for the pelvis to avoid that any risk of falling. If you want to still go through the drop back, have some teacher help you on the pelvis so that you don't drop back. If you feel very confident and if you feel strong in the legs, don't feel too much stretch into your belly, and go ahead and go through like I'm doing here. But definitely don't risk any too much of a stretch, uncomfortable feeling on your belly. Listen to your body. 80% rule applies to all of these back bends as well. Now you're gonna go into your fourfold Paschimottanasana. What you can do is use a block for your forehead to come down. Open your feet a little bit wider. Put the forehead down on the block and fourfold. So what I'm using the block for is that the third eye position gets pressured. So you cannot come all the way down to the leg or floor during a pregnancy with the belly. But you can put a little pressure on your forehead or third eye, which helps you to relax. Of course, you don't have to use a block if you don't have it. It just helps you to relax a little bit more. And you can slowly come out of this Paschimottanasana. So Salambashavangasana, shoulder stance. You're gonna take the modification by putting a bolster, block, or blanket down underneath the hips and just bring the feet up. If you have a wall, you can bring the mat to the wall and rest your legs on the wall. So that's the great modification. Even for those who are not pregnant, and this is a good modification for the high blood pressure, any eye injuries, glaucoma, anytime the menstrual period, anytime you don't want to go invert too much, this is a great modification. Just relax here. For halasana, all of those positions, you can just gently bring your knees to the outside of your chest, kind of like a happy baby. Okay, so Ardha Padmasana, you can bring your legs to the lotus or on the bolster. Just gently bring your hands on your knees and just stay there. So you're still making the shape, keeping the integrity of the pose, but you're not upside down. A lot of times, Salambashavangasana sequence is a little less accommodating compared to headstand Pincha Mayurasana because of the closed form. Your belly is closer to your chest. Your chest also, bigger breasts coming to your face. You feel more suffocated and then harder to breathe. Take the Matsyasana, your fish pose, if that still feels good for you. And really, this is a great opening for your chest and your throat. So a lot of time, it's a great pose for anybody to do. Uttanapadasana here. So if it feels good to come into the regular Uttanapadasana, do that. You can also drop your feet down on the ground and just reach in your hands forward as you don't want to contract your uterus, contract your lower belly too much. No Chakrasana here. You're going to skip the Chakrasana. Just come to a seated and take the Vinyasa. If you're not inverting into the headstand towards the end of your pregnancy, or if doctor recommends you not to, and you're gonna skip and just come straight into the 3 Padmasana sequence. Otherwise, you can take the dolphin pose or wall behind you for balance, or go into the regular Shashasana A and B headstand. Don't risk falling during pregnancy. You can take the B position of Dandasana. Slowly come back up and come all the way down to your knees. Child pose. Good. You can slowly come back up and come to a seated position. You can also take a vinyasa for the Baddha Padmasana. So Baddha Padmasana, you can come into the regular lotus or cross-legged positions. To reach into the feet might get a little bit more challenging with that size of the belly. You can catch your elbows. Now do the same thing just like what we did in a Pashasana. Use a block for your forehead, your third eye to come. This really helps you to relax your back completely and rest in your head down and rest in your third eye and having a little pressure on your third eye to completely relax. It's really important that your heat comes down, your heart rate starts to come down during all of this closing sequence. So make sure that you're taking all of the necessary steps to, or maybe little slower breaths, extra time, so that you can completely rest. Okay, Padmasana here. No modification needed mostly for the Padmasana. The only thing that might be actually great for pregnant ladies is that, anytime we have a chance, we want to practice Kegel exercise. So you can just completely rest and meditate here. You can also practice the Kegel exercise. Inhale to squeeze and then exhale to let go. You can also do this during the Uti Putihi as well, so that, preparing the vaginal canal for the birth. I think it's really good to have a moment every day and have a set time every day to practice. Slowly Uttiputihi here. So Uttiputihi, lifting up using all of your Uddiyana Bandha is not going to happen right now, right? So with your extra weight. So you can just shift your weight forward, not lifting up at all is completely fine. If you have a cross-legged, you can cheat with feet down, completely fine. You don't have to lift up. If you're lifting up, you can just come a little bit, just a little bit, as your knees cannot come to the chest. Have the final vinyasa if that feels good. Preparing for your Shavasana, final relaxation. So you don't want to lie on your back, especially after week 20. What you can do is create that little reclined shape with the props if you have them. If you don't have any props, you can just come on the side of your body like you sleep on your side. What I'm doing is putting a block here to make the little height and putting a bolster to create a little scale. You can also roll blanket underneath the knees to have a little space for the knees to be more comfortable. So this has been a really good propped up Shavasana for me. I'm not all the way on the floor so that I don't feel suffocated with the weight of the belly. My knees are completely relaxed. If sideways Shavasana works better for you, come to the side body You can also use the props underneath your shoulders and your head and between your thighs to make yourself comfortable. Stay in Shavasana as long as you like and completely rest. Resting is more important than ever right now. If you have questions, comment here. And if you have any experience you want to share, go ahead and share. We have a modification video for primary sequence as well, so check those out. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for taking my class. My name is Reiko Rogers, and keep in touch. Namaste.